Good morning and welcome to the Forex Daily Update, brought to you by Pepperstone on Wednesday the 28th of March 2018. I'm Darren Sinden, and you can follow me throughout the day on Twitter by using @ds_Pepperstone. Right, let's take a look at the overnight changes and price moves to be aware of. But before we do, please note that the FX Daily Update will be taking a short break for Easter. But we will be back on air from Tuesday the 3rd of April. So no video tomorrow, none on Friday, but we'll be back on Tuesday. Right, let's take a look at the changes of note and things to be aware of. And to be fair, it was a pretty quiet day again on the world's foreign exchanges. We could argue that people are winding down for the Easter break. There were very few movers of note as far as traditional foreign exchange was concerned. I will just flag a couple of key points. Watch today the level of dollar yen at 105.51. It was trading shortly before we recorded the video, but as we'll see, there's reason to think that markets are in more of a risk-off mode, which ought to favour the yen. Dollar index for itself, relatively static at 89.34, but as far as we're concerned, still well below that key 90 level, which is the area that we'll be watching. In terms of cryptocurrencies, it hasn't been a particularly good week for either Bitcoin or Ether. Bitcoin down by over 11% thus far, and Ether knocking on the door of almost 20% falls over the week to date. Right, what's on the calendar then? Events that may move the markets. A reasonably busy calendar. First of all, we've already had GDP growth out of Korea year on year and Q on Q. Final reads there for Q4, and we'll look at that in a bit more detail momentarily. To come at 7 o'clock GMT, we'll have the influential GfK consumer confidence data out of Germany. We'll also have at 7:45 consumer confidence for March out of France. Then a leap forward to this afternoon and to the US, where we have a series of final reads for economic activity in Q4 last year. Most important amongst these, the GDP price index and the final read on GDP for Q4 2017. All that due out at 1:30 GMT. We'll have the small matter of an interest rate decision out of South Africa at 2 o'clock, and then moving forward to 3 p.m, pending home sales for February out of the States. As we've talked about recently, the housing market coming under increasing focus in the US, and at 3:30 we'll see crude and gasoline reserve changes from the EIA. We'll have Brazilian consumer confidence for March at 4 p.m, and at 5 p.m. GMT, the busiest man in the world of central banking at the moment, it seems, the Fed's member Bostic will be speaking once more, and that's, as I say, at 5 p.m. GMT, and the day will be finished off by Korean business confidence data for March at 10 p.m. GMT tonight, if you're still in the market. Right, breaking news and comment then that's caught my eye overnight. First of all, US tech stocks have led equities lower once more, with the US 100 down by some 3% overnight on fears of heightened regulation for the sector and price target and credit downgrades. Facebook, for instance, was downgraded by Bank of America, and Tesla was put on notice of a possible credit cut by US credit rating agencies. Asian equities have also taken fright this morning, particularly the Japanese 225 index, which is also down sharply. Meanwhile, China's news agency has confirmed that Kim Jong Un had travelled to Beijing for secret talks with President Xi, and this was the North Korean leader's first official trip abroad. So a change in policy and outlook perhaps from the North Koreans, and they've confirmed that they will be meeting with the Americans as well. Staying on the Korean peninsula, South Korean GDP fell for the first time since 2008, shrinking by minus 0.2% in Q4 2017. But as a whole, the Korean economy grew 2.8% when measured year over year, December to December. Right, food for thought then, something to take away with you into the trading day and beyond. And as we await final reads for US Q4 17 GDP, it is interesting to look at the evolution of forecasts for US GDP in the current quarter. And the chart to the right shows us the Atlanta Fed GDP nowcast model against the in green against the blue chip Wall Street consensus for US GDP, and both of these numbers have been trending lower since late January. The Atlanta Fed model of coming off a massively high, what looks like an overestimation of GDP, the blue chip consensus trending lower off of a lower base. Anyway, interesting to look at that and to keep an eye on that through the Atlanta Fed GDP Now website. Right, please take a moment to read the risk warning. Trading CFDs and foreign exchange on margin can be a risky business. If you're in any doubt about those risks or the suitability of the products for you, then please do contact your Pepperstone account representative. Have a great Easter, and we'll speak to you next Tuesday.